Hi everyone, welcome back to my show. I'm Anja Braun and this is English Breakfast. Today we have a very special guest, one of my close friends. Everyone, this is Kaido! But first, here is the tea of the week. The tea of the week this week is that ex-President Donald Trump was recently found guilty on felony charges amid this 2024 election. Now, this actually just happened today, so will he actually go to jail? I don't know, but there's that. I found these awesome press-on nails. They look so cute. They're from Kiss. This is not an ad, but I am a press-on nail girly and I really love them. So far, I've had them on for several days and they're not chipping, they're not breaking, nothing, so I'm really impressed by that. Unfortunately, the ongoing multiple genocides across the world are still getting worse. There will be some resources linked down below on information and ways that we personally can help our family in Palestine, our family in the Congo, etc. That's it for me. Back to the show. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna ask just some baseline things to I'll see what the tea is. Okay. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Central Jersey.
And what do the people look like there?
Colorful.
They are?
Yeah, it's pretty diverse. Okay. Yeah, I grew up mixed, black, brown, yellow, all the colors of the rainbow. It's pretty really diverse. I grew up not feeling like a minority.
Okay.
Se, so that says
that's
a lot.
Interesting.
Yeah, but in high school, I did move to Pennsylvania and the suburbs.
The Superior State.
Woo! Whoa, relax. That's where I became a minority.
That's when you started to feel the effect.
That's where I was whoa.
It's different.
Well, wait, is this the America that they talk about? There was more trees, more green.
But also more flags. When did you go there? How long were you in New Jersey?
High school. I was in Jersey until end of middle school.
So when you were in New Jersey, did you have any instances where you were people are being treated differently?
So honestly, the little totem pole in the district that I grew up was the black kids were cool,
It was the natural order.
Naturally. So it was a lot of the black kids had the best swag, the best hairstyle, So then all of the other kids, the brown kids, yellow kids, whatever, white kids, everybody tries to match that. Mm-hmm. The way you talk, the way you dress.
Did you have a lot of bad babies?
What is that?
The Catch Me Outside girl?
A few, but it wasn't too it was still a, how do I say?
Blackfishing or what?
Crazy. No. Nothing crazy. Some bullying, because you're not as cool. You're wearing Reeboks, not Nikes. You know what I mean?
I was Pumas,
my Christmas list I want Nikes for Christmas. I got Reeboks. And I was
yeah. Was that the same or was that different when you came over to Pennsylvania?
So when I came over to Pennsylvania, there were a handful of black kids and they're literally all related. It was not even a...
Why is that? I'm everyone, this was me in my elementary school.
So I was oh my god, there's no, not a lot of brown kids either. I grew up with more Latinos too. Not really any, actually. There's a handful of Asians.
So were people getting their ass beat? Were you experiencing racism at this time?
So it was really interesting because they have this American, when you look at the TV shows for American high schools and the white kids, and they're oh, there's a new kid, and they try to befriend the new kid. Mm-hmm. But I was busy having a culture shock, so they're all trying to sit next to me, trying to be cool, oh, where you from? And there's it's a new shiny thing in the room.
Okay.
And I was oh, y'all look the same.
Mr. Krabs me.
Literally at that time, everybody was wearing the Juicy Couture, the Uggs, the leggings,
God.
And the guys were all wearing the Sperry's, the khakis. Yeah, no, it was so disturbing to me because I came from a place.
It was so disturbing.
It was I came from a place that everybody was wearing just swaggy stuff, right. That time it was kind of saggy your pants, you're kind of wearing you got J's on or something.
Yeah, and you're it's so preppy in here.
Yeah, and I was whoa.
You what happens after you graduate?
So after I graduate, I get a college, think I'm a rebel. Okay. Go to college, and I end up going to Penn State. So that ass. My closest friends were Iranian, Kenyan, black, some Indian. Yeah.
Number one, were all these people straights? Were they gays?
No, they were mostly straights. I had a group of friends I was dating at the time. Dating somebody in like...
I'm like, hold on. I had a group of friends, I was dating all of them.
No, I was dating a guy, but he was in another state. And through him, I had a like group of gays.
So yeah, overall just like a mix, but...
Yeah, but in school it was like more straight. I had like one gay friend.
Do you feel like, because you were talking about this a little bit before with the whole beanie situation, like do you feel like you not have to, but like dress a certain way, like attract like the group of people that you want to be around? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, you do.
You know, like okay. You weren't gonna go to whatever high school wearing Sperry's because you didn't want to be friends with people who were wearing Sperry's. No. Right? So do you feel like either in that time or since then that, oh, I need to like swag it out, otherwise no one's gonna know?
Low key, but like I think I just dressed how I liked most of the time, which was not like normie. I like jewelry, and then like at a time I was more femme. So like in college I was more femme. I was wearing like more like really tight clothes, fitted clothes, you know, was more flamboyant. I think it was probably
at that time.
Yeah, I was definitely a lot more. But I think I did show up differently, like going to class with a bunch of straight people versus like when I go out to like gay clubs and stuff. Underage at the time, but you know.
What would you say your current friend groups are like? What's the vibes?
Gay and queer. I pretty much don't have straight people in my life now. The fact that I've just turned straight recently.
Yeah, I'm like, you either, what do they say? You either, whatever, like die soon or you live long enough to see yourself become the enemy.
Good ones die young, but here I am.
Do you feel like now it is harder or easier to like find friends as an adult in the spaces that you're saying like obviously you would frequent that are like, you know, diverse people, queer people, etc.?
For me, I feel like it's never too difficult to meet people as long as you're like going out and willing to talk to people and like socialize, find things in common. I mean, that's how we met, literally. We were just on a rooftop. Yeah,
I know.
On a rooftop, like, what's up? What's your name?
Your ethnicity, both of your parents are what?
Taiwanese.
Okay.
Yeah. One was like country girl, one was city boy.
Aw. Yeah. Do you have like extended family that live by you?
So pretty much all of my family except my immediate family is in Taiwan. My mom just went to Taiwan like yesterday, so.
Like, when was the last time you were there?
I actually just went March, like April, March last year. I went for like a month.
Well, considering you've been all over the world, sorry, it's been hard to keep up. Have you been there a lot? Like, did you go back there often?
Yeah,
as a child or whatever?
Yeah, growing up.
What language do they speak?
They speak Chinese, Mandarin. There's also like a language called Taiwanese, and it's more of like the people that are originally or have been in Taiwan for a long time. Like my grandparents speak it, but there's like the newer generation that like haven't picked up the language.
Okay.
They rely on like Chinese more. They don't really like find the need to learn Taiwanese. So then it kind of is like slowly dying out, which is really sad.
Do you know it?
I know like I can tell you that I'm gonna go shower or I'm going to eat food.
Okay. What would you say? Go ahead, say.
Oh Lord.
How do you say
I'm gonna be judged. Is it on the internet? I can't say this.
Well, we don't know. I don't know. What is it? Just say like something small.
Okay.
Learn.
So if I say I'm full, like I can't eat this, I'm full. I say what ba.
Okay.
Okay. Cheers to you having a podcast.
It's a show. Okay, so how did you guys get to New Jersey if you guys still have all your family there? Like, did your parents immigrate here?
Yeah. So they actually went to college here. Okay. In Ohio.
That's why they came?
Yeah. They went to college, grad school, got a job.
So they've always lived here or what? Like, who is the one who's like, I want to go live in America?
My dad.
Okay.
My dad, like, I guess he is exposed to more being in the city. And I think his older brother had, like, either planned on coming or already came first. So then he was like, to my mom, who was like having a good old time in the country. He was like, we're gonna learn English. You're gonna learn English. We're gonna go to the States. And she was like, what? And she was like, well, and then she became like an electrical engineer. Like,
oh, wow.
I know, of all the things. And she like, originally was in like Taiwan, was studying to be a nutritionist, and she came over. She's like, I can't do any of this in English, so we're going to do math.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, how is that easier?
No, it's
that
not.
doesn't make any sense.
Literally
you
not.
You pick the way harder one.
Yeah.
You're like, actually, I'll take that one. Yeah.
But you avoid like a lot of the English.
That makes a lot of sense.
But it's still crazy to me, taking some electrical engineering courses, and I was like, I speak English. Okay.
What'd your dad go for? Did you say?
The sciences.
Oh, okay.
And like medical sciences type of stuff. He's a professor now. Back in Taiwan, he was studying to be a vet.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And so what do you do now? Like, what's your occupation?
So I'm a developer. So do you know what that means?
No one knows what that means. That's why I'm like, okay, like, what are you developing?
Developing software, websites.
On the computer?
Yeah.
I'm like really taken back.
I actually Control C, Control V.
Okay, I can do that.
You could be a developer. So yeah, I sit at a computer 24/7, probably making my eyes worse as I do it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I don't hate
enough.
I don't hate it.
Okay.
Pays bills. So
It
like
does.
two good things. I think that when it's like kind of challenging and it's like a project that I'm interested in, or there's like I'm using like, new technology, then I'm like more hype about it and excited. But the majority of the time that I've been working, it's just been like kind of maintenance and kind of like just okay, you make one new thing and it's not that shiny and it's like not that exciting. So I'm like I can do it, but it's not like actively bringing me like joy. You know what I mean?
Right.
So.
Do you feel like the immigrant parent stereotype applies to your life when they're like, oh, then you have to like be a doctor or a lawyer or, you know what I'm saying?
It's not made up, but I think I was lucky with my parents that they weren't like that.
They were chill.
Also, I was like a really bad kid. So
Okay, so you set the stage.
Yeah, and they kind of gave up on me like back in middle school.
They gave up on me.
Like,
That's the way you do it.
I ended up, you know, maybe they low-key managed to put enough like impressions on me that I ended up like I'm an engineer, like computer engineer. I still ended up doing a field that a lot of Asian parents want.
Right.
But they were never at any point being like, be one. They're just like, if you go this route, by the way, you might make this much money, which might mean you could do this thing and this
So
thing.
they were like kind of finessing a little
they
bit.
like put a couple drops of like, you know, just, you know, they didn't mention
Plant
any
the
other
seeds.
field. They weren't like, if you do X, Y, Z, you could do like, you could make cool art or something. They're just like, if you want to like do art, you might struggle.
And you're like, I don't want to struggle.
Yeah. Like as a kid, you're just like, okay, kind of makes sense.
Right.
And then like, I end up making a choice that I think is for myself, and then you know,
They're like, yay, you did it.
Did I choose that? Wait a minute.
Or was I guided to choosing that?
So I mean, they were right because I do live comfortably. So
Right.
kind of worked out.
I mean, they gave you the options and you chose what you chose.
They did.
That's all that you can do.
So yeah, so I was like, I didn't get like a forced into this, but I probably was like influenced into it.
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I do.
Older than you or younger than you?
One older, one younger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
you're a middle child?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like my younger brother's like a kid. Like he's like 10 years younger than me.
So was mine.
Yeah, but like so the whole time before he popped out, I was like the youngest kid, right? So,
And then you're like, okay.
yeah, but for me it was like I actually wanted a younger sibling. So and he came the day before my birthday. So he was my birthday present.
You were so excited.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, for my birthday, I get a little brother. Like, yeah.
That's so cute.
Literally for my birthday, I went to the hospital and saw my little brother.
Aw.
Yeah, he was born, so we share practically a birthday.
Almost a birthday?
Yeah.
He's also a Taurus?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, but we're so different.
Okay, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. So obviously you live in Philly now. How long have you been in the city for?
In the city proper, like, almost 4 years. 4 years maybe?
Okay.
So not that long, honestly. I
okay.
think like 2020, I actually moved here 2020, so. Not
In the
quick.
pandemic?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Because I was working from home, I know, but it was so cheap.
I know.
And I moved here, actually.
To the building that we're in.
Circle, yeah. I was living in, I don't know if you know where Norristown is, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was living in Norristown in like a nice spot, but there's nothing out Well, like to anybody living out there, there's stuff out there.
Fuck everybody who lives in Norristown. Kiss my fucking ass.
No, there's stuff out there, but it's just it's like pretty suburban. Like
Right.
I wasn't living in the downtown area. So
It's like where you live when you have toddlers. Like,
no, my friend had a toddler.
that's where you go. You get banished out from wherever you were and you go to Norristown.
It's just like a lot of fast food there. So like if I wanted like quick access to like Chick-fil-A, Arby's, McDonald's, Burger King, it's like all on my street.
Meanwhile, living right here, we already know, I was talking about this before, I'm living in a fast food desert. There is no McDonald's, no Burger King, no Taco Bell, no.
There's a Wawa, that's all you got.
As we know, Wawa, my love.
Your love.
But Wawa doesn't count.
No, it's not.
If it doesn't have a drive-through, it doesn't count. Obviously, you and I have been out many places. Mm-hmm. Remember that time? I'm like, this is off the record. But remember that time?
Oh Lord.
That I got kicked out of Taboo? Do you remember?
Oh my God.
Do you remember? For during the day. Remember
my God, yeah.
And I think that this was like, was this during Pride? I was gonna say though, about Pride, I always miss it, like the Philly Pride. Mm-hmm. I literally, it's been year after year, and all I see is you on your story. It's noon, and I'm like, okay, like since when was this gonna happen? So, how many Philadelphia Prides have you been to in the 4 years?
Only like 2.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I only made it to like 2. Actually, maybe 1. So I went this year for sure.
Okay.
I like hosted a little pregame and everything. I went out like 4 days out of the week, starting with like the bar crawl.
Fucking marathon. Jesus Christ.
And then the year before, I like walked through it, but I had a flight to catch, so I didn't really participate. I was like, I have to make it, so I like walked through the little parade, and then I had to go and catch a flight for my job. I had a work trip. Wait, I need a cut.
Where are you going? In the same way that your high school was more preppy vibes,
Yeah.
do you feel like you can see, like when you go out or when you're at, just like the places where you frequent, do you think you can see the difference between the ways that the white gays are acting and or treated versus like everyone else?
All of the above.
I thought you were gonna elaborate.
Like there's definitely certain bars that cater towards like that group of people more, so you'll go and you're like, oh, it's like all white gays, and
Right.
then we're just like that pocket of color, pocket full of sunshine that walk in, you know what I mean? Yeah, so like in a way, if that's what you're looking for, you'll get it.
Right.
And if you're looking for people that are looking for us, and you're in those spaces, then you're like,
You can find them.
you can find them. But
Do you feel like there's certain places, like imagine someone is going to be like moving here or whatever, like certain places you're like, oh, like this is a good place for the people that I want to see, and like this is a good place for a gay bar that everyone has it's all girls with their boyfriends. Because everyone's been talking, you know what I'm saying, about that changing, especially like in our neighborhood.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're kind of boycotting Taboo.
Oh, okay, we're boycotting Taboo.
We're boycotting Taboo
Why?
for just their stance on things going on in the world right now. They're
Like what? You can tell us.
but yeah, they're just very like they like release statements and stuff, and they're like pro-Israel type.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the conflict and what's happening right now, and they're
Right.
like, yeah, and in general, there's I don't know if you saw the news, like I think it was a couple years ago, like there was this guy that was like literally killed in front of Taboo by the bodyguard.
Yes,
remember?
yes,
I think
yes.
he's still living here. I feel like we talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's just like very questionable things happening.
How are you going to hate crime outside the gay club?
Literally.
You can't even get in.
I actually liked going there. Like we went there.
Yeah.
Except
well, not one time.
except
I was
have our
fucked up.
own experiences with
Yeah.
that place.
But
So,
if enough people have a bad experience, obviously there's something to be said for that.
yeah, which is a shame because like it would seem like a pretty central place they could go for like a lot of different things.
Right.
But
And if you're gonna be like, oh, this is like a place where this is a safe space. That is not a safe space. It's like, not really.
No.
I feel like there's such a gag between like the businesses who say that
Yeah.
versus like what the actual experience is for the people who are going there.
yeah, and like if you want to see like gay white men, U-Bar, or like maybe a little bit older too.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you that's your vibe, like U Bar is probably a place. I think the Cockatoo. That's like next
If you're a
to
black lesbian, you can go to Level Up, as you know. My favorite
Oh
place.
my God.
They started following me on Instagram.
Level Up is fun.
Yeah. It's like always some
And they have
different
hookah,
vibes.
So
Do they? I've literally never even seen that.
Well, every time I go, they can't give it to me because they're like, oh, we don't
you're
have
black?
it today. Yeah, it must be. I don't know. Every
They
single
need to
time,
put a
there's like people
statement.
smoking. I'm like,
We don't have
they're
it
like,
today.
oh, it's actually.
They brought theirs from home.
No, I swear to God, I've been there like 4 times asking for hookah, and they're like, oh, it stopped like two minutes ago. And it's like until like 11 or something. It's like 10:52 or something. Just like, hello. Or it's on sale. Yeah, I'm like, I never managed to get a hookah unless somebody else has already gotten a hookah. And then I'm like using their hookah. Except don't go on Thursdays if you're expected to turn up. Because remember when was that? And it was like karaoke night.
Yes.
Everyone
was singing Keisha Cole.
Singing sad songs, and we're like,
Yeah.
we want to shake your ass.
That's the only black-owned gay bar that I know that's by here. Isn't Woody's the one that everyone is saying now is overrun by straight girls?
Yeah, Woody's is just straight people. Like there are, you know, the non-straight people that still try to go,
Right.
but everyone's in there like, oh.
In general, how we're talking about, oh, this is a safe space, but only for some people, but obviously that's how you want it. How do you be like, this is a safe space, everyone come, and then also like preserve the community of people that are supposed to be feeling safe in the safe space?
Especially when like, the reason I heard that straight girls are going to these gay bars is they're like, oh, because like the guys don't like feel
Try and hit them.
Yeah.
Right, and you're like, because the guys are looking for guys.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. Like,
Then, you know, when they're straight girls, right, the straight guys come, so there's not a lot of
Designated straight
clubs or like fun clubs for straight people. So they're like, oh, the gay clubs are fun. You said what?
Pandemic shut them down.
Oh,
The straight clubs?
They didn't shut the gay ones. Still going.
exactly.
Because especially I know like there used to be like lesbian places that now just don't exist. So like lesbians have a hard time like going out because it's all like gay men, that's another thing. But I know like they have like mixers and stuff they end up doing. I've actually went to one because I had friends who were like, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen so many like gay women in one place at one time because like you just don't see them out. Like,
Right, outside.
Like, I mean, you probably do, but they have their own like group of people. So
How was it?
it was like what you're saying. Like people were just trying to meet people. So it was like a lot of like, it was giving kind of networking, low key.
Oh.
But like, also like people just hang with their friends, chilling at the same time.
Going back to what you were saying previously about Taboo and their statements, like how do you think it's possible to separate essentially like the queerness from white supremacy when you're not, like you have say one category where you are the minority, but that not translating to empathy for people who are minorities in other ways?
I think there's like definitely people that take like, oh, I'm a minority in something, like because I'm gay, I'm marginalized, and run with it, and then they're like focused on their identity, but not really taking into account that like other gay people are having different, like even worse experiences because they're also like colored,
Disabled and black,
or disabled,
and, you know what I'm
right?
saying?
Like literally anything else.
They
Yeah.
have one leg, like
Yeah,
it's
and they're
not.
like, but they're more like, oh my God, I'm gay and I'm being hate crimed, and like fuck your problems because that's not related to me.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a thing.
That just made me think about that with the whole standing on the side of Israel.
Well, yeah, there was I think there was like a sign that was like, I forgot what it said, like free Palestine or something like not Palestine will be free, like not related to Israel really, like it wasn't saying, it wasn't hate basically.
Okay.
And then they made a post about being like hate speech will be like not tolerated here, da 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 da, and then it was like a whole thing. People were like, what? When people don't define hate as like, I don't know how to say it for real, freedom of expression is different than like you can
Being an asshole?
yeah, no, literally I'm like trying to put this like in good words, but yeah, if you're gonna say something that's like, it's not hate, it's just like, you know, your truth or something,
Right.
and you're not.
The truth is that you're fat, and it's like, okay, that's not nice. Queer groups and like groups of girls are portrayed in like the media. Number one, either being super cringy, or number two, being super catty. Do you find that that's true with the people that you know and are friends with?
No, honestly, it definitely depends. So like, especially media, like for example, the gays, they portray like gays as like having one sense of humor, which is very like the stereotypical like white gay humor. That like that's if there's gonna have like a gay friend or a gay friend group in a like some kind of cutscene, it's always like the same type of gay friend group or the same type. So there's definitely more like difference in people's personalities and stuff, especially if it's not just catering to like the white gay or the white queer. I think for the people that I know at Philly, like the Philly queers, Philly gays, well, the queer specifically, they're more open. At least the people that I'm friends with, they're more like open-minded, and like they're more like listeners to an extent, like conversationalists, like less of the catty, like passive aggressive type of. Those exist. Like, not gonna lie, they straight up exist. That's why it's a stereotype.
Of course, they're people.
Yeah, nah.
That's what people do.
Just not people I'd be friends with. So, there's a lot more diversity and personality that exists that is not actually portrayed in media as much.
I want to know, because obviously there are a lot of people who would say things are too woke, and like things can definitely be too woke, like people will like be crazy about things. Do you feel any sort of pressure? Because when people obviously talk to me, or when I talk to people, I am not normally like, what are your pronouns? You know what I'm saying? Like people be like, oh, like tell me right now. Whatever you say, I'll say. You know what I mean? Like, okay, cool. Not really like thinking about it. Do you feel pressure to ask people, or to say yourself like, these are my pronouns, when you're talking to other people in the community?
I think I like the normalization of people just being like, oh, like, hi, I'm Kaido, my pronouns are he, they. Or like, I'm Kaido, he, they. Like, just throwing out there so there's just no question. So people aren't like kind of like guessing whatever, and they don't have to bother asking, because you'll just like say it up front. I think I like that more than having to ask. But I do like ask, because I think it's important that you know how people like to be referred to. Because sometimes, like, you know, people might present themselves one way, and then you like automatically assume something just from how they present. So because in queer spaces there's more fluidity and more like acceptance, I think it's just nicer and more welcoming to ask. But there are like in more like binary and more like, you know, more straight probably spaces where if you ask, they're like, are you questioning me?
Yeah, it's like, kind of like, are you trying to clock me right now?
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Like, if you,
so I do see that.
If you're in a room with people and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna assume, you know, everyone's sort of identity here. You're like, hi, whatever. You don't ask other people, and then you see someone and you then ask them.
I think in that case, like, if you want to be a little bit more subtle, then when you're introducing yourself to them, you will say your pronouns first. So then maybe
so that's like the good baseline. Just
yeah. Because like it would be better for you to introduce yourself as opposed to ask them. You know, because you're like, oh, you can assume my pronouns, but I'm not going to assume yours. It's kind of like, okay, well, we're just not going to assume anyone's pronouns. I'm this, and you can say what you are. But I think baseline asking is more polite than assuming, because if they get offended, that's their problem, low-key, because like you're doing the courtesy of like being like, oh, I don't want to.
Because it's not an offensive question to ask a person.
Exactly.
It's just the fact that people have made it weigh a lot more.
Yeah. So if they get offended, that's more of something they gotta deal with themselves. That's in my opinion. Because if you're getting offended from someone asking your pronouns, then you're either not secure in your pronoun, or you don't really know what. Like, if you feel comfortable in your pronouns, like, you embrace it, and you're like, yeah, this is what it is. Yeah, you know. So I don't think it's like rude or offensive.
So you would say, like, number one, just introduce yourself with your pronouns. If you forget or whatever. Number two, you would say ask, and then number three, worst case scenario, just don't assume.
You just use their name. If you don't get the chance to ask them,
just use their name.
Just use their name.
Yeah.
If I don't know your pronouns, I'm like,
I don't know why that's so hard.
Anya's cup.
Right. Like, Anya did this.
Yeah. Anya's cup. Anya's cat. Anya's like camera. Like, you just use a name as a pronoun, it's not a problem.
I don't know why people act like it's so hard, but
Yeah.
we're gonna wrap it up here. I like to give my guests the opportunity to ask me one question.
Ooh.
So you may think of your question and ask away.
What kind of space do you find most comfortable in when you're going out?
I would say,
It doesn't have to be race related. It could be like their
well, I'm gonna make it race related. I would say black people.
Say it to the camera.
Obviously, yes. I would say black people, and then underneath that, I would say queer people. But it's also interesting to see when people choose, or maybe are more, I don't know, comfortable with like certain aspects of their minority. You know what I'm saying? Like you might choose to be in a queer space rather than a Taiwanese space. You never know. You know what I mean? Depending. But I think first, I would say I would be most comfortable in like a room full of black people. Secondarily, I would say most comfortable around queer people. Obviously, like the streets are scary. Everyone knows that. Like straight males specifically, like least level of
And
comfortability.
what do you identify as?
Me?
Yes.
She, her.
I know. I meant, are you straight?
No, you already know this.
For the
Oh, okay,
audience,
okay,
they don't
yeah,
know.
sorry, so sorry. You know what, this is like something actually interesting, and then I'll finish it. I feel like though, it's really kind of strange and like creepy to see girls, lesbians, bi girls, whatever, like more masked lesbians, more masked bi girls, who adopt the unfavorable traits of straight men in order to get girls, which you, one, don't have to do for girls who like girls, and number two, you don't have to do that, period. Like I've had like several instances of girls like either being really touchy or whatever, being like, well, we're both girls, so that's like fine. But I'm like, that's not fine because we're both people and I don't know you. So that's why I would say black people above that, because of the social construct that we have all accepted. We pretty much all know how to interact with each other. Whereas then like one step down, it can get a little bit dicey.
A little bit, yeah, no,
Pretty
I
quickly.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I think queer spaces are like every time you go into a queer space, you never know what to expect necessarily.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Because
Like
it really depends on the
rules of
queers.
acting, exactly,
Yeah,
are
yeah.
not necessarily dependent on like your sexual orientation.
Yeah.
The way you're socialized,
Yeah.
you know, can be entirely
I see
different.
that.
So that's what I would say. That is my answer.
That was a good answer.
Thank you.
Wow.
This was our conversation. I really hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. Make sure that you follow me for more. Have a great day, have a great life, and do what it is that you do.
Have a great
Bye.
in the store, and I was like,
You
close gagged.
lady.